What's up everybody, SuperDurks fan here for another car review. This is of course the 2017 Cadillac CT6 Platinum. Huge thanks to Cadillac for providing me with this very sweet, fully loaded CT6 here to review for you guys today. So about the CT6, well, this thing is just impressive simply because of its size, if nothing else. I mean, it's wide, it's extremely long, and it's just very elegant and just bold looking, and I absolutely love the way this thing looks, especially compared to other bland full-size luxury sedans out there. This just really is striking without being obnoxious. I just love these headlights, the way they kind of waterfall down into the front bumper there, and their indirect fire LED headlights there. It's just really cool. I love all those little touches like that. And you know, otherwise, you have those nice taillights in the back, which are very Cadillac-esque, but I like that, you know, it's their signature thing, and I think they look really nice, and they're a little more enhanced and a little, I guess, cooler looking than previous Cadillacs here for the CT6, and so it just looks really nice. I just love all the little bits of trim, you know, the Cadillac badges here on the fenders, and just, you know, everything else about it. It's just, I love the shape of it. I love just, you know, that Cadillac emblem there in the front grille, which also has some radar stuff in it, but it's a very just bold piece. That grille is very prominent, and overall, it's just a very distinguished looking car. Right, for the interior of the Cadillac CT6, it is so impressive and amazing. So anyway, first things first, sitting down in these very soft, comfortable seats. They are just, you know, really nice, smooth leather, really great seat shape and design. They just feel really nice to sit in. The bolstering isn't, you know, super aggressive, but again, this is a super nice luxury car. You don't want aggressive bolsters. You can adjust the bolstering though, and it also has, you know, a bunch of different ways to adjust the seats to get them just right. And it also has a massage function on these seats, in addition to being heated and cooled, of course. And the massage function has 5 different types of massages that you can do, and they have different levels of intensity as well for each of those 5, and it's a really well done massage function. I haven't sampled too many systems, but out of the handful that I have sampled, this is certainly the best so far, and it's really well done, and just very just puts you in the most relaxed state with these seats. So I mean, excellent job there on the seats. Next is the steering wheel in the CT6, which is really nice as well. All new here. It's a new shape and design for Cadillac, so it's different than all the other stuff that I've reviewed in the ATS and CTS. And this one, I really love it. I think it actually has a slightly better 9-3 grip than the other previous Cadillac wheels, and I like the way that the buttons are kind of laid out, because there's a good amount of buttons on the wheel, but they're nicely sectioned off into different areas so that it's not a bunch of buttons in one spot. And I really like how they kind of spread them out here across, you know, the rim and stuff, and really well done. They also have the very nice metal paddles that you've seen on other Cadillacs with nice automatic transmissions, and so overall, really nice steering wheel. Next is the gauges in the CT6, which are honestly, I think, the coolest looking digital gauges I think I've ever seen in a car. And yes, that includes even the new Audi stuff, because this is just so three-dimensional, with especially the speedometer there front and center. I love how it highlights the speed that you're at there. As you know, the needle goes up, it kind of puts a little bit of a spotlight on that part of the speedometer, which I really love. But it's so high definition looking, so sharp and crisp. I love, you know, the way that all the gauges are laid out, and of course you can customize them, but it still has the traditional style of gauges. You know, everything is where you'd expect it to be, which is comforting. You know, with some of these other fully digital things from other manufacturers, things are all over the place and you don't know where anything's at. This, it still is logical and easy to use, but I love how, you know, it is digitized, and you know, you can customize it. So on the left there, for example, you can have a boost gauge if you'd like, you know, if you're performance oriented. Otherwise, you can have navigation, you know, all kinds of different things there. I love the tachometer too in this, because not only is it just digital, but you have another little like line part that follows the needle along and kind of highlights again where you're at in the tachometer range there. And then in the center, the speedometer is digital. Of course, you can get rid of the digital part there, and you can have it so it's just a, you know, digital needle there reflecting the, you know, gauge as well. But you can can also change that middle portion to also display night vision, which this car has. And I haven't sampled that just yet, but you know, it's very cool. It'll, you know, replace the middle portion of the speedometer there and give you a much better view at night. So very cool to have that. On the right hand side, you have your other traditional gauges there in the digital fashion, and then you'll also have a very nice wide display there to show you your audio information, which is convenient whenever, you know, songs have long titles and things like that. And then it will also, you know, show your navigation direction, anything like that you want there. And so really just, I love just looking at these gauges. I could just, you know, stare at them. They're that beautiful and really well done. Coming over to the center of the dashboard here, you'll see that first, whenever you hop in this and start it up, the Bose Panorama system and the center speaker here for it that rises up. Now this system is 34 speakers. I don't even know where they find the space to cram in 34 different speakers, but that's what this has, and it combines for an absolutely amazing surround sound experience that is the new benchmark as far as audio systems in vehicles go for me. I have never heard a sound system that sounds better in a car in my life, and I mean, I put on a really awesome, you know, orchestral piece that I actually have heard in person, and then I compared it to how it sounded in the car here. I mean, it gave me chills. It is just so powerful, this sound system, and I honestly, I made a list of all of my favorite songs that I want to listen to while I have this car here for the week that I'm driving it, because I just want to experience all these pieces of music with this awesome sound system. It is just fantastic, and I mean, it's not a cheap option for the Panorama system, but if you like music at all, I think it's worth the money. If you're in the position to afford one of these anyway, spend the extra couple $1,000, get the Bose Panorama system. I don't think anyone will regret getting this system, because it is just outstanding. And like I said, it gave me goosebumps listening to it. It's that good. Other things though, trying to stay level-headed here, you have a very nice larger 10.2-inch display here for the Cadillac Q system, which is very impressive. The largest system the Cadillac has ever offered as far as screen size here, and really helps it, you know, break out of the standard 8-inch screens that all cars honestly have these days. And this really, you know, takes it up to the next generation kind of feeling. It's, you know, an HD display, and you know, it's typical to the other Cadillac Q stuff. You know, it's just a little bit of a wider display, so you can fit more icons, which is convenient. And of course, all the things that are displayed are a little bit larger, which is also very nice, especially when you're driving and, you know, don't want to take your eyes off the road too much. And you know, all the same basic functions like you would expect out of the Cadillac Q system. It is very nice and responsive though, and one huge leap forward, and I'll mention this as we go down to the rest of the controls here, is like for the volume knob and stuff, the slider is still very responsive, and I've never had too much of an issue with the Cadillac Q system. But for those that did complain about it a lot, one big thing is all of these capacitive touch buttons that on other Cadillacs, it was just a capacitive touch thing and it wasn't always very responsive. This actually has a physical button behind it now that you press down onto it, and it works every single time. It has not failed me once, and so that's really nice. You know, whenever you go down to the climate controls here, you know, for heated seats and all that kind of stuff, you actually physically press into it now. And so I think that's kind of gotten rid of all the concerns about, you know, the touch system not being responsive enough. Now that is not an issue at all. And you know, I love also the metal trim here you have for the climate controls, and two basic vents. I love the design and the styling. You know, you have some nice leather here to cover the dashboard in addition to the wood and carbon fiber trim, and everything just feels so premium and high quality. And again, just even compared to other Cadillacs, which are very nice interiors, this is just like next gen stuff, really, is how this feels. And it's just really impressive. Another very cool new thing here for the CT6 is this new gear shifter, which is a very interesting kind of rounded shape here. And the really remarkable thing about this shifter though is how mechanical it feels. It takes a little bit of muscle to put it down into drive, but it just really feels substantial and like you're actually moving something, and it's not just some little electrical thing. And so I love that gear shifter. It just feels really nice, and it looks great as well. Then another cool thing new for the CT6 is this touchpad. So if you don't want to touch this touchscreen for whatever reason, you like having your hands down here instead, then you can use this touchpad here. And it's pretty sensitive, but it does work very well, and it also vibrate and things like that to kind of give you a little bit of feedback as you're scrolling through different options. There's also a nice back button right there as well, which is handy. And so that's cool to have as well. Honestly, I still just like using the touchscreen. I don't mind the fingerprints and stuff, but it's nice to have the option to have one or the other. As far as storage space in the CT6, it's pretty good. So you have map pockets here in the doors that have a nice large bottle holder and another little slot. Coming over to the center here, you have two cup holders, which are an average size and you know, should work with most drink cups. And then coming to the back, first before I get to the center armrest, you have this little slot here that is actually a wireless charging pad, so you can you know, if your phone is so equipped, you can slide it down into there. It also is just, you know, fine for, you know, holding other phones. But anyway, coming back to the center armrest, it's a little bit on the firm side, but it is nicely padded still, and you open that up, and then you have a good amount of space here. Not a huge you know, center storage bin here, but you do have two USB jacks and an auxiliary jack built into there as well. And you know, it's still useful for fitting, you know, small little knickknacks, but you know, obviously compared to some other cars that have enormous center storage bins, this falls a little bit short, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. Back seat in the Cadillac CT6 is just as impressive as the front. Anyway though, sitting down in those back seats, I'm 5'9", me sitting behind myself, I still have several inches of legroom there. It's not quite as roomy as I was expecting from a car this long, but it is still plenty of space for, you know, even people over 6 feet tall have plenty of legroom, plenty of headroom there, you know, and so I don't think it's going to be cramped for anyone. But it is, you know, just a nice back seat. It's very soft, comfortable seats there once again, and those seats are just as awesome as the front seats. They have the 5-function massage, they have heated and cooled functions, and are just very comfortable seats. They also will recline a little bit there to, you know, put you in more of a relaxed state, and make those seats even more comfortable back there. It's just a really nice place to hang out, because you have a bunch of hookups there right by the center of the seat there by your legs, and so you have two USB jacks down there. You have a 120 volt normal plug, and then you also have your more traditional car, you know, power outlet. And then you also have, when you look forward, starting from the bottom there, a slot for a Blu-ray or DVD, and I'll talk more about that in a minute. And then you have the Bose Pan-Array speakers, more of them there in the center. And then coming up, you have your climate controls, which again have nice metal little you know, levers here, and it has a nice little screen to display your temperature and all that kind of stuff. And so nice to have those. And then you fold down that center armrest there, and you have a whole little command center. That's how you control your seats there in the back, as far as you know, changing up the different massage functions and things like that. And that's also where you open up the center armrest there. In addition to also, you know, finding two cup holders in there, you find a nice center cubby that also has two wireless headphones there that are very nice headphones, by the way, as well. They're not branded as Bose, but I wouldn't be surprised, considering this is a Bose Pan-Array system, that they are actually Bose headphones. Nice leather padding and very high quality feeling headphones as well. And also, you know, you'll find in that space two more USB jacks, an auxiliary jack, and also an HDMI port, which is very important so you can game, because, you know, you have that little remote control there, and you have two individual screens that come up out of the front seats here that are a nice large size, high definition, and are really sweet. And so you can display either what's going on in the front here, you can, you know, display out of those various ports, whatever is displaying. The HDMI port is displayed there, or of course, like I said, you can play a Blu-ray, DVD, whatever. And so honestly, I mean, I think the back seat is actually the more desirable place to be here in the CT6. It's just extremely luxurious. It's also nice to have this double pane moonroof as well, which gives you a nice view upwards as well. And overall, I mean, it's just a super nice back seat. Trunk space in the CT6 is really massive, and one of the largest trunks I've ever seen. A very wide opening to begin with, so you can fit large, you know, wide items in there easily. And then it goes a long ways back as well, and I think that's where the length of the CT6 really comes in handy and helps you out there. And I mean, you could easily fit 4 full-size suitcases in there without a problem, and then some. I think, you know, plenty of room back there, and so just a very nice, you know, car, especially if you're going to take 4 people on a long road trip. You can fit all their stuff with ease. Alright, so start up and go for a drive. The CT6 has the new Cadillac key, which has a very nice satin and metal finish. It's nice weight to it. One of the nicest keys in the industry right here. And anyway, of course, you leave that in your pocket. It's a keyless entry, push button start. So you just put your foot on the brake, hit the engine start button, and it starts right up. Alright, so setting off in the 2017 Cadillac CT6. Well, first thing you notice setting off here, it is just a very smooth ride so far, pulling out onto this park road here. Other things that you notice right off the bat is that the rearview mirror is a camera and a screen here. Now, you can actually turn it down so that it is a normal mirror if you'd like, but they say that this digital one is better because it's a wider view, so you can actually see more of what's going on behind you with the digital one, and it's just super cool, the first of its kind in any car. And really just pretty groundbreaking and awesome. Very cool innovation there by Cadillac. Cadillac. Other things though you notice, now we're maneuvering and turning at low speeds. You also notice one very cool feature up the CT6's sleeve, and that is that it has rear wheel steering, which I actually experienced when I was pulling into a busy packed parking lot last night. It just makes this car just shrink, and you can just turn into spaces that you don't think a car like this should be able to fit into, and it'll just turn, and it does it. And it really helps with low speed maneuverability and makes the turning radius for this thing very tight, especially for a large sedan like it is. Other things though to note, as you know, we're just driving along here at a very low speed. Visibility is very great here. You do have this gauge cluster that comes up a little bit and obstructs your view if you're sitting lower like I am. I like sitting lower just to have a sportier feel, but you could raise your seat up and see over that. The hood though does drop down pretty nicely. You just see a tiny little bit of it, and so very good view forward, I'd say, and then view out of the sides is very good as well. You do have a B-pillar there, but of course you have blind spot monitoring and very wide mirrors as well, which help with being able to see and cover all your blind spots there with the mirrors. And like I said, view out of the back is spectacular because there's no obstructions thanks to the camera. All right, so we're gonna put the car into sport mode here, and let's turn down onto this back road here. Let's see how it does. Here we go. There we go. All right, this thing's really quick. So the CT6 I'm driving here has the twin turbocharged 3-liter V6 engine, the top engine option here for the CT6, and so it does 404 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, and gets this thing up and going, they say, around 0 to 60 around 5 seconds. So plenty quick, for a large luxury sedan here. If you want something fast for the same money, you can easily get a CT-SV if straight line speed's your thing. But this is plenty of power to really, make it easy to merge out of the highway and things like that, and give you, plenty of power so you're never hunting for power. Another really impressive thing though is this 8-speed hydromatic automatic transmission that they have here, which is really smooth with its upshifts, very quick and very seamless. You don't even really notice it most of the time. And just for the heck of it, we'll put it down into manual mode here and see how the shifts are if I do it manually. And they're about what I've experienced in the past with other, cars that had this 8-speed from GM. It is pretty quick on the upshifts. It's just the downshifts that still, could be a little bit sharper, but it's honestly not bad, and it's better than a lot of these other luxury car automatics, and I really like it. All right, so going around some corners here. Not a backwards car by any means, but I gotta say, wow, this thing really holds its own. I think that rear wheel steering really helps. This isn't very heavy either. I mean, it is heavy for, a car, but for a large luxury sedan like this, it's only around 4,100 pounds. So honestly, I mean, look at this. I've already caught up with traffic. So it's very, very impressive with its handling here. I gotta say, I love all the Cadillacs seem to share the same trait where they all have fantastic turn in, they all have very sharp, quick responses, and just they're very tossable and really a ton of fun to put around corners. And this one is no exception. Even being the long, large one, it still just handles like a dream. It really does. And let's give it another go, shall we? This thing flies. I love as you approach the red line, the tachometer gets red and starts flashing, and it's just another nice little touch. Here in sport mode, the transmission does like to hang on to the higher revs too, so it gets what I'm doing, and it's wanting to play along here. So it's really, I love the programming they've done here for the automatic. When you leave it in the automatic mode, it's fine. It figures out what you want to do just fine, keeps you, in the meat of the power band with whatever gear you're in, so that, you're able to power out of corners effortlessly, and just all around, it's actually a pretty good sports sedan. It handles better than some smaller cars that weigh less, honestly. So really gotta take my hat off to Cadillac too for the way this thing handles. It's impressive. And it's crazy, when the transmission is doing its shifting, it's so smooth, you can hardly even tell that it's shifting half the time. It's really impressive, especially when you're not in the sporty modes. It's almost indiscernible, and it's just very refined. That's another thing though about the CT6 here, is everything is so refined, as you would expect from a car that's, over $90,000 as this one is equipped, but it's just very quiet in here. You don't really hear hardly anything from the outside. You know, road noise and everything is all very, very subdued. And, you know, it's just, I love the way it goes around these corners. That, wow, it's just impressive. But the ride is also very smooth. Now, this has the magnetic ride control, but even in the sport mode here, you know, on roads that are fairly smooth, I mean, but it's still just, it's buttery smooth here. And then, you know, you go over into the touring mode again to, you know, soften things up a little bit, and it gets even better. And it's just, it is a very smooth ride. I've seen some people complaining about the ride in the CT6. I don't know what they're on about, because I think it's an extremely smooth ride, and maybe the only thing that I've experienced that has a better ride than this is the Rolls-Royce Wraith that I just reviewed recently. Otherwise, I think this is the softest, smoothest ride out of anything that I've ever reviewed. So I don't see any reason to complain there either. But anyway, thanks to Cadillac, I have this vehicle for an entire week, so I'm going to drive it around a bunch more for sure. And then I'll come back and give you my final impressions as well as my final fuel economy during the week and all that. Alright, so I've been driving the 2017 Cadillac CT6 Platinum here for a week now. And man, this thing is so impressive. Like, I want one impressive. Like, man, this is really, Cadillac has outdone themselves with the CT6. I'm just so blown away and impressed by it. You know, the main thing, honestly, the driving experience is great. And it's so great that it's not something that distracts you or anything. It's just, it just does what you want it to do, and it gets you along, you know, in the utmost comfort and relaxation. And but it is sporty. I still, you know, I took it around some more corners, put it in sport mode, and it really does keep up with you whenever you really do want to, you know, go crazy, or, you know, if you're in a hurry, things like that, then it will gladly help you out there. But this is just the ultimate cruise vehicle, the ultimate road trip car. I mean, especially with that back seat with the TVs and the Blu-ray player and the amazing sound system, adaptive cruise control. I mean, I want to take this thing across the country and back. That's how nice it is to drive, and, you know, how nice the creature comforts are. I mean, this is the first car where the sound system was so good that I made it a point to listen to all of my favorite songs in the week that I've had it here, to just experience them in, you know, something that sounds this good, because it's truly something to experience. And everyone that I've given rides to was blown away and impressed by it as well. Everyone loves the massage rear seats, and it's definitely a crowd pleaser as far as all the toys and things go. You know, the camera rear view mirror actually works really well, and I've loved using that. The night vision works great. That was great to use during the course of the week as well. And the only small little complaint that I have is the auto stop start function, which is better than it has been on previous GM vehicles that I've been, you know, reviewing over the past couple years here. But it still isn't perfectly seamless. And you know, even with the sound system up and stuff, you don't really hear it turn on, but you do still feel it a little bit. And even when it turns off at lights, it almost feels like someone lightly rear-ended you sometimes. And that's just a little bit of unrefinement. But thankfully, this car, you can still turn off the auto stop start. So if you don't like the, you know, auto stop start, you just hit the button. Unfortunately, you have to hit it every time you get in the car, but if you make it part of your routine, it's not a big deal. I'm just thankful you can still turn it off, because in some other stuff like the Buick LaCrosse that I just reviewed, you cannot turn it off. So I'm glad you can still turn it off, and they give you that option. So because of that, it's not really a complaint, because you can get rid of it. So the last two things I want to talk about in the CT6 are the fuel economy and the price. Now, this car is rated at 18 in the city, 26 on the highway, for a combined average of 21. In my week of driving here, I managed 15.3. Now, that was primarily city. There was a little bit of highway mixed in there, but it was mostly city driving here in the 184 miles that I drove. And so 15.3 is lower. It's better than the CTSV. That had a lot more power and was a similar weight. And the ATSV, I drove a lot more highway miles in that, and that got a little bit of a higher. And that's also much lighter. This is, you know, 4,100 pounds or so. I mean, it's light for its segment, but it's still not a featherweight. And so, you know, even with a, you know, twin turbo 3-liter V6 here, it still is a little bit of a job to haul around that weight. So I think that's why, you know, it's a little bit lower. It's still, I was expecting to be closer to the estimates though, and that's still about 3 mpg away from the city estimate. But I mean, again, if you're spending this much money on a car, then, you know, the fuel economy shouldn't bother you that much. The range is quite good. You know, if I was straight highway cruising, I think you'd have pretty good range in this, because I still have right around a quarter of a tank here. And So yeah, but speaking about that price, that's the last thing I want to mention here is the price of this. Now, the CT6 starts in the, you know, low to mid $60,000 range, you know, if you're to get a base one. This one, as tested, is $91,580. So, that is because it's the Platinum. It has all the toys, all the goodies. It's basically fully loaded, this one here. All-wheel drive is an option. You know, the engine is an option. If you don't need a ton of straight line performance, you can get the Platinum with the naturally aspirated 3.6 liter V6, which is you know, 335 horsepower, I believe, and again, that would be a totally fine engine. If you're just looking for a straight-up cruiser, that would probably be my choice, honestly, because you don't need the, you know, crazy straight-line performance, and 335 horsepower is still plenty. Honestly, I think that that V6 would be a great choice, and like I said, this engine is very nice as well. But if you were to get a Platinum with the lesser V6, the naturally aspirated one, then you'd actually only be paying $84,500. So, you know, you do pay a premium, or maybe it'd be 86 or so, but you still would be paying a good amount of a premium here for this bigger engine. And so, you know, $91,500 sounds like a lot maybe to some people, but then you look at the competition and you realize how much of a bargain the CT6 is, because at $91,500, to get a comparable German rival with all the same features, because, you know, the options list and stuff are very long on all those cars, to get one with all the same features the CT6 has here with the Platinum trim, the only one that even comes close is the Audi A8, and the Audi A8L, that's a couple $1,000 more, so you're still paying more money for the Audi. But then you look at the other stuff, the BMW 7 Series with all the same options, $20,000 more expensive. You want to look at an S-Class Mercedes with all the same options, $40,000 more expensive. 40 grand. You can buy a really fun second car for $40,000 with the savings between the CT6 and an S-Class. So, you know, that's where the difference, I mean, not only is the CT6 spectacular compared to the competition, but you saved an enormous amount of money that even if it wasn't as good as the competition, it would probably still be close enough that it would be worth all that savings. But like I said, I think this is actually better handling than all the competition, because they're all just large boats. And I mean, yes, you know, they handle reasonably well on their own, but I don't think they even really get close to this. I mean, some of them do have a four-wheel steer system as well, and I haven't tested those in all honesty, so, you know, maybe they do handle very well, but in my previous experience with other S-Classes and stuff that were a couple years older, not nearly as impressive as far as handling and things like that go. So, you know, I don't know. I'm really thinking that this is one of the best in its class, if not the best. I love all the tech. I love all the creature comforts. The massage is very nice. It works very well. All the other tech and everything works very well. The first day that I had, the pedestrian warning thing went off twice for no good reason, but it never actually freaked out on me or anything. It just was like, hey, there's a pedestrian here, and started getting a little nervous, and there actually wasn't anything there. But after that first day, actually, I haven't had any false, you know, things go off or anything like that. And overall, I've just absolutely loved my time in the CT6. And if you're looking for an super luxurious cruiser that also handles very well whenever you do want to be in a hurry, then this thing is hard to beat. And yeah, I'm telling you what, Cadillac is at the top of their game. I've driven all of their stuff now, and every single one of their sedans is outstanding and really deserves a hard look, because they are all really, really good cars. So anyway, huge thanks to Cadillac again for providing me with this to review for you guys here, and let me know your thoughts on the CT6, and thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.